Hello, my name is Jasmine Lee, and I am not your mama's astrologer. I'm here talking about the week incoming March 4th through the 10th. You know, it's kind of one of those weeks that lulls you into a false sense of chill. So really, I think the conversation needs to be around what is your relationship to chill? Because by the end of the week, it's going to feel decidedly not chill. And so you'll have started this week making your plans, having your conversations, feeling like things are really organized and creative and generative. And then the end of the week comes and it's like, where did all of that go? Where did all of the plans go? It's, kind of like the best laid plans don't always come to roost. It's like going to a bar and getting real drunk and meeting a guy that you think is super hot, and then you meet up with him in real life on the weekend and you're like, oh, yeah, that's not the vibe. That's not the plan. So, what do you do when your plans go awry, when communications don't work out all the time, when you feel a little bit lost? It's kind of like a Wes Anderson film. It's all vibey and full of good filters and colors. And, it's like if you can just let go a little bit of needing to control the plot, of needing to control what it is you're trying to accomplish this week. If you can be like, all right, I'm just going to be curious. I'm just going to let go and I'm going to see where the vibe takes me. That's when Wes Anderson movies and your life can be super cool and super chill, because you can just be like, oh, look at, I saw a bald eagle today. That's so amazing. Versus, oh my God, I saw a dead owl in the street and it's a bad omen and we're all going to die, right? It's like perspective. Those were really weird examples. But the truth is that we can think we have a handle on our life, and the reality is we never do. We never, ever do. And the more that we can be comfortable with the creative side of ourselves, the more we can be comfortable in the not knowing, in the space in between the inhale and the exhale, the better our lives are going to turn out for us, because, red flags are all around us all the time, but we choose to see what red flags we see when we see them. And we don't know what we don't know before we know it. So with those things in mind, going into the beginning of the week, don't get overconfident, okay? Don't think you're like the master of your own universe, because the truth is, none of us are. The truth is, there's always something or someone or some vibe or some situation that can come up that can really throw us off our games. And what does that bring out in you? When you feel really unfocused, what information is there for you? How do we thrive while also procrastinating? That's kind of this week. So Friday, there comes this energy that feels a little bit like inspired, but totally messy. There's not going to be a lot of rhythm or a lot of, you can put your finger on the why. So it's why I say vibes. This week, major vibes. How can you master your chill and pay attention to what is resonating, singing in the subtle aspects of your life? This isn't the weekend particularly. It's not a weekend to make big decisions, to make long-lasting decisions. It's a weekend to percolate in the what if and the greater whys, to why we get frustrated, why things don't go to plan, why life is ever an abounding mystery. Because that's cool. It really is. Life is pretty cool when you can actually step away from your own need to control it, your own need to micromanage yourself, the shoulds of your day, the shoulda, coulda, wouldas of your life. There is a beautiful moment that we can all find in the non-decision of it all, in the we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, just like we don't know what's going to happen next year. I'll tell you, every year I look at where I was at this time last year, and I am amazed at how different, how I could have never predicted so many different things, and why it is we all try so hard to predict or to know what the next turn in the bend is going to be, and how cool it would be if we could just vibe out all the time and just see everything that happens as a curiosity. I love Gemini energy. I was just talking about this with my partner this morning. Gemini energy is so cool because the word that comes to mind is curiosity. The ability to feel curious. And we start this week in pretty high spirits. We start the week with not a lot astrologically going on to like stop up the show or whatever. But as the week goes on, the focus kind of starts to die down and things become dreamy. We have a beautiful new moon on Sunday that I love for us because Pisces is all about the vibes. Pisces is all about the inner world. It's about creativity. It's about where we take our ease. It's about how we feel into those things that I was just talking about, the unspeakables, the moments in our life that we can't always speak to in a way that makes sense because, you know, life is complex. And I think that there isn't always a word or a capturing of every moment that happens to us. It's why when you haven't seen an old friend in a really long time, you talk about like the bigger things, but there's something missed there in the mix, the smoothie of your life, that there is a whole bunch of little ingredients and moments and laughs and hurts that go into the day, the year, the decade of our lives. And all of a sudden you turn around and you're this person that's still you intrinsically, but still there is a difference between who you were yesterday and who you are today, and feeling into those beautiful spaces where there is no tomorrow and there is no yesterday. There's only this one moment and these one precious things that are happening in these moments. And I really like it when the energy can get unfocused because you kind of start to see the human in all of us. We all like to think we have it under control. We all like to think we got our ducks in a row, but I don't have any of that ever. And I feel like pretending that I do is a farce, and that I would much rather sit back and enjoy the movie that is my life and watch it instead of trying to, you know, line it up and calculate it and quantify it, because I just don't think our lives are truly quantifiable. And I think the end of this week really shows us that. And there could be some like combustible moments, either interpersonally or in the outer greater world. There might be some big like forceful changes or moves, or you're just like, whoa, okay, that's aggressive, or that was a lot. Because I think that when energy builds up, it's meant to go somewhere. And this weekend is a good time for energy to move, to go places. And instead of wanting to control your energy and wanting to control the narrative, I think sometimes it can be so fun. And I'm giving you full access and full permission this week to just enjoy where it's gonna go. Or if it's sticky and unenjoyable, to be curious about how you're going to navigate whatever emotions come up for you this week around, you know, the non-fulfillment of plans or the not having a plan in the first place. My best advice maybe is don't go into the week with a rigid game plan. Like, cool, we all have things we have to get done. We are all adults, adulting in the most adultiest matrix I've ever experienced in my life. 0 stars. Do not recommend on Amazon how adulty life tends to be, especially, you know, in these wintry, almost breeding on spring month weeks, because there's an anxiousness that seeps in, a restlessness of wanting that change, knowing it's on the horizon, but not knowing exactly what that's going to look like. And, you know, I think that this is the kind of time where trust becomes a really cool commodity to have. Like, what is your relationship to trusting your life? How do you feel when you're like, I'm just going to go with it. I'm just going to go with it. I'm just going to see what happens. Like, how does that feel when you just go with it? Sometimes really great things happen and sometimes really bad things happen. You know, none of us are immune from thinking drunkenly that this guy's our soulmate and then he ain't. Yeah, that sucks. It sucks when that happens. It sucks when we get preconceived notions. It sucks when we have expectations that don't come to fruition. But what I think is really cool is that there is this like juice that comes with our expectations not being met, because then we have to reevaluate our own expectation system. Like, why did you have that expectation? Why did you assume that like your soulmate was at a bar? Like, these are real questions. These are real questions my 20-year-old self had to ask myself as I went on a very awkward date in my 20s with someone that I thought was smoking hot at the bar. Okay, he was still hot, but he like could not speak words. It was the most silent date I had ever been on. And I thought, why? Why did I think this was like a good idea? And so I learned a very valuable lesson in the not working out of that moment, was that first, don't trust yourself when you're drunk. And two, like, hot people aren't always perfect. And three, like, life just doesn't always turn out the way that you want it to, expect it to, get excited for it to. But it was like kind of a funny date. Like, I look back on it now and it really makes me chortle, because I wonder what that very silent, attractive man is doing now with his very limited vocal skills, you know? I hope that he found an equally unvocal person that can have a very quiet, lovely life together. So, all's to say, there's so many ways your life can go. And sometimes it's in the things not working out the way you expect that there is a growth edge. There is a learning. There is a deepening of your own inner knowledge and inner sanctum, that no matter what the mistake, no matter what the plan that goes awry, no matter what the biggest, milk spill of your life can be, that there are always the right paper towels to clean it up. I know, that's really deep. It's just about finding the right absorbent index. So here's what I want to say to you. This week, not so bad. There's nothing crazy. There's nothing that's going to like ruin your life or anything like that. There's just a lot going on that makes me want to say, manage your expectations. Manage your need to control something that maybe isn't going to work out the way that you wanted it to. Or like if you have fugue state brain, like if the brain just won't focus, it's foggy, it doesn't want to, like let it go to pasture. Do your best. And then go home and read a book. Go home and listen to music. Go home and go to bed early. Pisces moon and a Pisces sun would grant that wish instantaneously. With a Pisces new moon, it's about the other side. It's about the untouchable, unquantifiableness that is around us. And like how cool that if you just can let go a little bit, that there's some magic around us all the time that is available to us. We just have to stop pushing so hard. Do you ever notice that some of the best things that happen in your life happen unexpectedly, or happen when you're having a moment of unexpected joy or ease? And those things happen because we're letting go, because we're allowing, because we're surrendering. If we think we can strong arm ourselves into a happy life, or we can control the situation in a way that's going to make everybody else do what we want, then that is very limited thinking, because it is in the control that we lose ourselves a little bit. It is in the expectation of outcome that the story doesn't get to write itself. And that's no fun. That's no fun at all. So how can we embrace the unknowable? That's what Pisces new moon wants us to ask ourselves. And in this unknowable, what dream seeds, what things do you really want for yourself? Not just in the day-to-day, but just in your soul. Like, what does your soul want right now? How often do we get to ask ourselves that question and then try to follow through with an answer? Look at what the card I pulled. How about that? I pulled new life. New life. And I really love that for this little weird week, because I think that there is something, I love a good mystery. I love a good movie that goes in a direction that I'm like, whoa, I didn't see that coming at all. And we all love that. We all love the unknowable when it doesn't have to do with us. We all love the mystery when it doesn't have anything to do with our lives. But ironically, that's where all the good stuff lies. That's where all of the self-knowledge and newness and spicy parts of our life come from, is from those silly, weird dates that didn't work out, and from the, loss of something that created an opening for something else so much better So if we could believe in ourselves a little more, if we could trust ourselves a little more, and maybe believe in the fact that when bad things happen or when things come to us that isn't in our direct plans, that sometimes it's the universe saying things could be different. New life awaits. But you have to show up for it too. You can't just allow things to happen to you. You have to mold and bend and allow it to be for you. That if everything was for you, if everything that happened had that concept of the universe is working in my favor, then we would stop doubting the bad stuff as much, and we'd get curious about why we needed our plans to get disrupted that day. Because you never know the why. And the real beautiful thing about life is that we'll never know. There's always going to be a tomorrow full of things that we don't know yet, and being chill about that. Being okay with the fact that, oh my gosh, things might actually work out better, even if it feels as though my plans got disrupted in the first place. You know, in Oregon, it is snowing, and we've had some snow days, and we've had to move our plans around, and we've had to duck and dodge. And I think that it's really created an expansiveness inside of myself that every day gets to be different, and every day gets to be unknowable. And if we can be excited about that rather than scared or frustrated or anxious or allowing worst case scenarios to play out, then we really aren't making room for that space in between that I'm talking about, that thing that is unquantifiable when you are in a moment, maybe by yourself or with someone else, where you're thinking, this is a really special moment. This is really special. And you never know when those are going to come around. And so maybe if your plans get derailed, or things feel a little dicey, or your brain doesn't feel like it's operating on all cylinders, maybe it's okay to just relax and let yourself space out more, and let yourself dream more, and let yourself have those spontaneous moments of connection, both with yourself and with others. Because when I pull a card like New Life, and I'm thinking of a Pisces new moon, I'm thinking of our dreams, and I'm thinking of the ways in which we get so caught up in what we have to get done in a day, in the laundry, in the dishes, in our work schedules, in other people's needs and wants, that we don't fill enough space with that love of dreaming. And that if we gave ourselves that opportunity, especially when our plans don't go the way they're supposed to, or when, things feel intense or vibey, to give ourselves that space to dream, to be like, okay, well, what's next? What do I want to be next? What do I want to eat for dinner? Oh, that restaurant's closed. Well, shoot. I guess I need to think about what else my palate could want next. What else could my palate want next? And that is an excellent question to ask on all fronts, on all levels this week. What could you choose if what you thought you were choosing was all of a sudden not a choice? What's the in-between choices that we don't allow ourselves to choose because we're so busy choosing the same darn thing every single day? My vibe this week, because that is my word of the week, is to evoke a feeling this weekend. I don't even care what it is. Just evoke something inside of yourself that sparks a feeling that could maybe lead to a next that you weren't expecting. Please follow, download all of my stuff so that I can keep creating good content for you. I so appreciate the support, and looking forward to seeing you next week for a weekly review.